All right, so I want you to sit down for this one. Apple, they might be kind of possibly bringing back the iBook. Yes, the iBook. Now, I see you looking a little bit strange, but that's okay because I don't remember the iBook either. All right, so here's the question that I have for you guys. If Apple makes a MacBook with iPhone parts, do we call it an iBook again? Do we call it the iPhone book? Do we call it an iMac book? Mini S Ultra. I'm not sure, but I will say that Apple, they sometimes they scare me with their naming conventions. But whatever it is, you can call it cheap. And what I mean by cheap is you can call it Apple cheap, which is still not cheap, but it's definitely less painful on a wallet. Now, this is particularly funny for Apple, who is interested in selling a budget-friendly MacBook, which is definitely kind of weird since they just launched a carrying case that looks like a sock for your iPhone 17 Pro, I guess for any iPhone. But it is a little bit funny. So anyway, the rumors, they point to this budget-friendly MacBook having the same processor as the iPhone 16 Pro, which pretty much is going to have the brains of an iPhone. So pretty much a big phone with a keyboard just living its best life. So the rumors point to this could be out as early as early 2026, which means in rumor terms, which means it could come out tomorrow, or it could come out when I retire. Yes, I mean, the funny part is I think people will buy this budget-friendly MacBook. You know, if you look at something like, I think on Walmart's website, they're selling a M1 MacBook Air for $599, I believe. Which says a lot. You know, I think people see that $599 price point for a MacBook and they're like, you know what, I'll take it. Obviously, these people are not interested in doing any video editing. For the most part, they're probably just on like Safari or sending iMessages and things of that sort. So they don't need anything that's, you know, super demanding when it comes to graphic performance. They probably don't even know what that means, to be quite honest with you. They just need a reliable laptop. Now, there is a tiny problem, and maybe not even a deal breaker for those who are picking up this $599 MacBook from Walmart. It only has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which for the most part is not a big deal. But if you're someone who's going to be using Apple Intelligence needs 16 gigabytes of RAM. So you might not be able to use Apple Intelligence, which, like I mentioned, might be okay if you know you're someone who's just using Safari, but you may run into issues with the longevity of the $599 MacBook that you picked up from Walmart. But I think when Apple brings this budget-friendly MacBook to the market, they're definitely going to have to hit us with 16 gigabytes of RAM if we want to take advantage of Apple Intelligence. And yes, reports do point to that the A18 Pro has outperformed the M1 chip. Just keep in mind the M1 chip is a lot older. But at the end of the day, you know, the A18 may be good enough to run this budget-friendly MacBook. Yeah, especially if we can get this budget-friendly MacBook for $599 from an educational discount perspective if you're in college. And $699 for everyone else. Now, again, just keep in mind, this is Apple cheap. This is not everyone else cheap, if that makes any sense. I think we all know that we can pick up a cheap Chromebook for $200, $300 last time I checked. But definitely you're getting that Apple ecosystem with this budget MacBook that you would not get with something like the Chromebook. Now, before you get too excited and you start throwing your Chromebooks out the window, one thing to keep in mind is I feel like Chromebooks, they do rule the classroom, at least here in the United States. I will say that they're really good prices. I'm sure these school districts, they get really good deals since they're buying so many. But one other thing to keep in mind is these devices are really durable. All 3 of my kids have had Chromebooks, and none of them have ever like cracked the screen or had any issues from a durability standpoint, which I would say says a lot. My kids are really rough on that stuff. Just to kind of put things in perspective, my son, we bought him a MacBook Air, I think an M2 MacBook Air for his birthday, and he's already cracked the screen. So I think if Apple is deciding to bring this budget-friendly MacBook to market, it's definitely going to be something they're going to want to think about from a durability standpoint. I think Apple, at least when I was growing up, they kind of ruled the classroom for me, and I think maybe Apple wants to get back into their market when they can appeal to different school districts in terms of buying these devices in bulk. I remember as a kid, we used to love using, I think it was Macintosh computers when we went to the computer lab. Everything was pretty much Apple. So this may be a way for Apple to get back into that space and get a piece of the school pie again, which would definitely be interesting since a lot of kids, particularly here in the United States, all have iPhones. So this may be a good way for Apple to transition back into different schools. So it's going to be exciting to see how this pans out. Yeah, so I do remember, I feel like Apple did some sort of conference in Chicago. I can't remember, but Apple definitely tried to push iPads on the schools in the States here, and it just didn't go that well. I think the iPad was a pretty good price, but when you start adding accessories, those keyboards, the price starts to add up, and these schools just don't have the funds to deal with all the different accessories you need for the iPad. I don't know. I thought it was a great idea, but again, I think it might have something to do with accessories. The keyboards, like I mentioned, Apple Pencils, even though I think they came out with a cheaper Apple Pencil. But yeah, I think Apple were trying to push iPads on different school districts. Yeah, so for Chromebooks, you kind of just turn them on, they boot up really fast, and that's pretty much it. No emotional damage here. So I guess the question is, can Apple crush the Chromebook? I would say maybe, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. These school districts are not going to wake up like, oh, you know what? Apple decided to wake up in 2026 and make their products more affordable. I don't think that is going to happen, but it is something that could potentially start to transition over the next couple years. We'll definitely have to see with this. I don't know if this is probably the first time Apple has decided to go cheap with their MacBooks. And just keep in mind, this is Apple cheap, so it's going to be interesting to see how things work out. I will say this, for my MacBook Pro experience, now this is a Pro, but we normally keep them about 5 years and they run pretty strong. I have a M1 MacBook Pro and she's still going pretty strong. So maybe I will upgrade this year. I'm not sure, unless they have like one of those good trading deals. But the point I'm trying to make is MacBooks, they do have longevity, and that might be something that is interesting to different school districts. So I would say this MacBook does need to be budget friendly. I would say it does need to be easy to fix, which is maybe not one of Apple's strong points, but it has to be durable for that kid, that 9-year-old who thinks their laptop is a drum. So yeah, I will say if they try hard enough and the discounts are big enough, I do think we can see MacBooks back into the classroom. I think Apple knows once a kid starts using something and they get used to it, you can definitely see that a level of loyalty come their way. And that says a lot, because once they start using one thing, they'll go home and tell their parents, hey, I want to get an Apple this or Apple that, particularly at least for when I was a kid. And if you look at the way that kids use Apple products today, that might have played a part in terms of when we were growing up. So it's definitely something that Apple knows a lot about. So could this new budget-friendly MacBook with this iPhone chip start a new generation of Apple kids? So anyway, let me know if you have any questions about this budget-friendly MacBook in the comments section below. Also, let me know, is this something that you think you'll be interested in picking up? But otherwise, I will talk to you guys in the next one. unless Apple decides to bring out another $200 sock for your iPhone. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and subscribe if you want to see more from Juicy Dads. Later. Bye-bye.